guys, Mrs. G here. I just kind of wanted to talk to you about something that's very important. Knowing where your trucker is. Here a few weeks ago, another trucker wife, Jessica Martin, thanks Jessica, she reminded me of something that, throughout the years that I've kind of forgot, because it's something that G has always done, which is letting me know where he's at. Where he stopped for the night, if he stopped at the TA, wherever, what state, what city. Just, not that I'm trying to keep tabs on him or anything like that. It's just that I had a really bad personal experience when G first started driving truck. Back then, you guys know, we didn't have cell phones. It was a pocket full of change and searching for payphones. And I'd get a call once a day, let me know what the day had been like and, where he was shutting down, where he was, and what the plan was for the next day. Well, I had spoke to G in this particular day, and had gotten off the phone with him. Some time had passed, and I went in the kitchen. I was getting ready to cook supper for the kids, and I received a phone call from a detective in Michigan, and he said, "Does Gerald M. Johnson reside at this address?" I said, "Yes, sir, he does. That's my husband." He said, "Okay." He said, "Phoenix, Arizona?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry to inform you that his rig was found. It was found with the reefer running. The reefer's almost out of fuel. No sign of your husband, and there's blood in the cab." He goes, "I'm sorry to be the one to have to let you know that." And, my heart dropped. I mean, it felt like it fell out of my body. It felt like time stopped. But he kept, "Are you sure that's your husband?" I said, "Yeah, we've been married for quite some time now, And I said, "Last I spoke to my husband," because he did ask me, he said, "Well, when was the last time you spoke to your husband?" And I let him know and told him where G had shut down and where he was headed. He was heading to New Jersey, and where he had shut down, he wasn't near Michigan. And he just kind of sounded a little dumbfounded, and he said it again. He said, "Gerald M. Johnson, Phoenix, Arizona." I said, "Yes." But then he gave me his birthday. And I said, "Oh, no." I said, No. That's not my Gerald M. Johnson. That gentleman was quite a bit older than G was at the time. And he felt awful. He just kept apologizing over and over, telling me how sorry he was for worrying me and scaring me like that. And I started to feel some relief. But in the same regard, I was also worried about that Gerald Johnson's family. They can't find him. They don't know where he's at. And, there's no sign of him near his rig. It was just too many things that, were too close to home. And that's why it's so important, truckers, you let your significant other know where you're at. If you're shutting down at the Pilot, and what state and what city, it sounds a little tedious and like we're trying to keep tabs on you, but it's something that's very important. Peace of mind for us if we're at home, because we're not on the truck with you. And for a lot of years, I wasn't on the truck with G, but I knew where he was, where he shut down that night, or the end of his shift, because it wasn't necessarily at nighttime. But it's very important. Like I said, that personal experience, it changed me. And thankfully, nowadays, coming into the trucking industry, if you're a new driver, you have a lot more things at your fingertips. You guys have cell phones now. It's not like back then where it was a pocket full of change and looking for a payphone. You have cell phones. You have a way of contacting your significant other, throughout the day, not just once a day. But let them know where you're at. If they forget to ask, let them know. And if your, significant others, your trucker forgets to let you know, ask them. Write it down. Just know where they're at. Because God forbid something was to happen, and times have changed quite a bit. And I would hate to be in that position again and not know where G was, so that, I knew that I knew that he was okay. And that's just kind of something that I wanted to get out there, you know. And thank you again, Jessica, for reminding me. You know, I've been a trucker wife for quite a long time, and there's a lot of stuff that I've experienced and went through on this end, being at home, that, you know, I've gone through it. So it's something that I don't worry about no more. It's something that I know how to handle. But, you know, if there's other significant others out there, and I know there's plenty of them because there's lots of truckers, you know, if there's something that you want me to talk about or touch base with, and something I will. The only thing is, you guys shoot me a message. Just go to Mrs. G on Facebook and shoot me a message. You know, remind me of a topic that I may have forgotten. I welcome all the input. I really do. Thanks for letting me bend your ear. Bye, guys.